Hey, so let's get started because it is 6.
Yeah.
I want to welcome everyone to our webinar today. As a reminder, if you have any questions throughout the chat, put them in the Q&A section. And if you just want to comment and tell us where you're coming in from or say how great Felicia's makeup looks, you can do that in the chat.
Or Emma's, yes.
Oh, true. And then I also just want to kind of, before I start, just let you all know that I may be typing away. I'm not sliding you. I am just pulling links for you so that you can easily check things out that we're talking about. So thank you so much for joining. I will just introduce myself. So I am Emma Roberts. I am the social media manager here at Jane Iredell. And I will kind of be just posting and commenting while Felicia Ritz, who is one of our global educators, walks us all through our new PureBronze Matte and Shimmer Bronzers. So I'll turn it over to you, Felicia.
Thank you, Emma. Welcome, everyone. I'm very, very happy to be here with you to help launch and educate you on our new PureBronze Matte and one new Shimmer Bronzer. Before we go into that, just a little background on me. While I am the newest addition to the global education team, I am not new to cosmetics. I'm actually a licensed esthetician as well as an artist, and I think education is really my passion and calling. So I love getting out in the field and meeting all of you, working with you, and just sharing tips, tricks, and spreading the love, really, about Jane Iredell. So that's a little bit of background about me. I am based in Atlanta, so I handle a lot of the East Coast, a lot of our Southeast partners as well. So if I haven't met you yet, as I said, I look forward to meeting you out in the field shortly, hopefully soon. All right. As she said earlier, Emma, if you've got questions, you can always put them in the chat box. I will try to answer some that we got earlier. I'll try to sort of condense them, but if not, feel free to add and we'll get to you. All right. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's talk about the PureBronze. Sorry about that. That's not where I wanted to start. The bronzers, PureBronze Matte Bronzers. Okay, so you have asked, I know you've been asking for a minute about some matte bronzers in our line. We were listening, trust me, we were listening. But we really took our time in formulating these shades that were really about matching and working with people's undertones to their skin, which was really important to our team, because I think we can all agree that so many bronzers tend to look a little orangey on people, and we did not want to, sort of do that. We didn't want to jump on that. So we took our time, but hopefully you're all happy with these shades. We invite you to share your feedback about them. I'm going to go over some of the shades now, and we simplified the shade collection as well, so that really there's 3 shades, but believe it or not, they can work with many different undertones. The first shade being the light. It is a light brown, but I will tell you, it really can work with a lot of different skin tones. I've been using it out in the field, really impressed with that shade. Like someone a tad lighter than me can even use that. So believe you me, that's actually a very wide ranging bronzer. And then of course we have the medium, the caramel brown, which is what I use because I am sort of a medium olive skin tone. So I reach for the caramel brown. And then of course we have dark, which is a chocolate brown, and that's for richer, deeper tones. There's shimmer free, obviously, very blendable, kind of course, because of our ingredients, which I'll get into in a minute, but you can warm up the skin, you can contour, all very natural looking on the skin. We like to call the new shimmer bronzer that we just came out with, and all of them really, kind of the sun that never sets look, because you get the sort of radiant skin that you can with the sun hitting you, but obviously with a cosmetic, you know, and again, skin loving ingredients. So you know that you're using something that's healthy for your skin, won't irritate your skin. And believe it or not, these palettes can be used not just as bronzers. So I invite you, yes, you can take your brush and swirl them all over the palette to create that all over glow, but do not hesitate to actually use them as face palettes. I'll demonstrate one later on, but keep that in mind, because I think so many people are not really aware or know how to use them as palettes. And let me tell you, I always like to say, like, you know, they've got that question, and Emma, I'm sure you've been asked this before, but if you were stranded on a desert island, what's that one beauty product that you would like? Now, obviously, as an esthetician, I should say sunscreen, but as a makeup artist, I say the Copper Dusk palette. And when I show you how I use it on the face, you'll see why, because I can do eyes, lips, and cheeks with it. So it's sort of a one and done, you know. So again, we speak about the skin loving ingredients. Again, we're using some of those ingredients that you're so familiar with in some of our other products. The pomegranate extract, it's a really important ingredient in the Jane Iredell line. Obviously, you're familiar with the scent of it with our palm mist spray, but really more importantly, it's actually a really good antioxidant. When you think about the fact that, you know, you can eat pomegranate seeds and they really are great anti-inflammatory for anti-inflammatory reasons when you ingest them, but they're great on the skin as well, because it really helps with free radicals, to fight off the free radicals. And basically free radicals are what cause hyperpigmentation to the skin. So when you hear about pomegranate extract in our line, please keep it in mind as something that helps with kind of protecting and guarding off more hyperpigmentation. I think so many of us probably have it just because, say, when we were younger, we weren't always diligent about sunscreen. We know better now, but it really is helpful with fighting off free radicals. And the pomegranate extract, of course, is in our palm mist spray, but it's also in our Pure Press base, and it's also in our Just Kissed lip and cheek stain. So keep that in mind as well. Shea Butter, when I spoke about how some of our new bronzers feel sort of creamy on the skin and they glide on, this is one of the ingredients that creates that. The Shea Butter helps to kind of give that ultra smooth application. It works synergistically with another ingredient, which I'll speak about in a minute. But Shea Butter, as you know, is in our Smooth Affair Illuminating Glow Primer. It's in our eye pencils and in our eyeshadows. And again, if you've ever used our eyeshadows and our blushes, powder blushes, you know how they tend to just go on. They really glide on the skin really well. It's partially because of the Shea Butter. So know that that is really one of the key factors in that. Jojoba Seed Oil is what helps to soften the skin. And again, as I was saying, it works synergistically with the Shea Butter to sort of help create that creamy texture for easy blending. Jojoba Seed Oil is found in our Glow Time blush sticks. If you haven't used those are beautiful. They blend out so nicely, multi-purpose sticks. And it's also in our Hydro Pure Hyaluronic Lip Gloss, as well as the eyeshadows, and in our blush as well. Let's get, also another ingredient that I forgot to speak of is the pine bark extract. That can be found in our bronzers as well. Pine bark extract is wonderful for soothing and calming the skin. So anyone with redness, anyone with rosacea, they can use these products because, again, the pine bark extract helps to just kind of calm and soothe the skin. So sometimes people, you know, with sensitive skin and sort of redness still want to get bronzed up, right? So the PureBronze Shimmer Bronzers, we've sort of streamlined our collection. We did do away with one, but obviously to make room for Copper Dusk. I'll start with the tried and true, I think, Rose Dawn. Everyone knows it and loves it. It's just that beautiful kind of pink and bronze shimmer, you know, and it's the perfect combination. I use it on a lot of brides. I think it really is helpful to give that lit from within glow. So it's beautiful. And again, that's a beautiful face palette. Peaches and Cream, that's a beautiful warmer peach tone color shimmer bronzer. I use that a lot, again, because I have yellow undertones to my skin, so it just sort of lends itself to sort of warming it up. And I love to use it on the apple of my cheeks. Moon Glow is a more of a golden shimmer bronzer. That's wonderful for lighter skin tones, and also maybe just someone that wants that hit of gold. When you really just want that neutral gold highlighter, Moon Glow is wonderful for that. And of course, Copper Dusk is our newest. That is beautiful for our richer, deeper skin tones as an all-over bronzer, and they can also use it as a face palette. So the face palette aspect of Copper Dusk is really far-ranging. You know, anyone from, I think Emma, you've probably used it as well as a palette. And then I use it all the time as a palette. And again, I think it's one of those things that I say, like, deserted on a desert island. Yes, give me Copper Dusk and I will be fine. And I'll show you in a minute how I do that. The Good Glow. We really say that we're the Good Glow. Why? Because we have good for the skin ingredients. We care about, you know, the environment as well. So we're just, you know, Jane Iredell is a good company, I guess, in the sense of, you know, clean ingredients as well as all the other aspects of it. So, you know, you can glow your way, the Jane Iredell, you know, way. I didn't talk about sunflower seed oil. That actually is really helpful to retain moisture in the skin. That's another key ingredient as well. That's very, very useful in sort of, as I said, retaining the moisture in the skin so that we still have that kind of luminous finish to our skin. Even if you're using a matte bronzer, you still don't have like a dry look to the skin. It's also used in our Circle Delete concealer and our Glow Time Pro BB cream, as well as our Triple Luxe. Now, something that is new and exciting is our new Refillable Compact. Hopefully you've all had a chance to see it. If you haven't, it's really beautiful. It is a dusty gold exterior, but it's a very, just like a brushed gold finish. I love it. It's very elegant looking. Still has, you know, the same components. It's still that weighted aluminum over shell. We also have an updated quote inside of it, so that's always a pleasant surprise. But still, the same manufacturing, just a little bit different exterior shell. Very, very helpful for clients because now when they look for their Pure Press base and their bronzer, they'll have one white compact and one dusty gold. So it's helpful. It's helpful because in the morning when we're trying to get ready, cuts a little bit of time off there. And again, still doing our sustainable packaging for our refills. Again, just goes back to how we really are trying to minimize our carbon footprint. That paperboard exterior is still fully recyclable. And same thing, refillable powder system in the compacts as well. Let's get into, let me do this. Okay. I'm going to show you all. So when I bronze, I use the medium. Okay, that's what I use, the medium. So what I do, and anytime you're just trying to warm up the skin, you want to use the chisel brush because this is just a light, you know, not really densely compacted bristles on that. And you just run it across the top of the compact, okay? You just want to get just enough shadow on there. Never blow on the brush. And then what you want to do is you're just going to start on the top of the face, a little bit over on the outside of the face as well. And don't be afraid to go back in and grab a little more color. And you're just hitting the high points of the face, wherever the sun touches. Now, you know, again, I did get a lot of questions about middle-aged women and sort of helping to recede and jaw lines. This is the perfect product for that. So you can use your chisel brush in the jawline. You can also use the contour brush, okay? This is excellent for, say I wanted to really chisel out my cheeks. You really want to feel, you can feel where your cheekbone is, and directly under that is where you want to place it to chisel out the face. And you can really start to see where it's already, you know, kind of chiseled me out. Do you see that? It's beautiful, isn't it? And then you kind of just blend it out a little bit. This brush is very, very ideal for contouring because you can see that really sharp edge that it chisels things out with, but then you just blend it downward, really. It's beautiful for that. You see how I've definitely chiseled myself out versus that side. And then if I want to get in, which I do many times, get into my lower jawline area, again, just to kind of minimize that. That's lovely for that as well. Many of you asked for tips on how to contour the nose area. So what you'll want to do in the nose area, a couple of different brushes that you can use, but say I wanted to contour my nose, you would take this angled brush, or you can also, ooh, where's my, there you go. Sorry about that. You can use this brush as well, but I just lightly get some color on there, and I'll just go along the sides of my nose there and kind of see how it narrowed out my nose a little bit. Look at that. Who needs a nose job, right? We can just go ahead and contour. So that's how I use my medium bronzer. Now, hopefully that answered a lot of questions too, brush wise, you know, both of these are great for contouring, just sort of chiseling out, you know, that narrow edge there. And again,
What were those two brushes?
this is, so one is the eye contour.
Okay.
The eye contour, hello. Eye contour brush.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it is. And I like it. I mean, it really is for eyes, but honestly, it's an angled brush, so it really works nicely. But you can also use the large shader as well, because you can just kind of, again, you're just stroking it along the side there of the nose. This one is nice because it blends it out a little bit. You know, you don't have to sort of go back in and blend it out. It sort of does it for you. And of course, this is great for that all over, you know, bronzing. Now, a couple of tips on any of the shimmer bronzers, okay? I'm going to use this one because it's the newest, but I will tell you, I learned something new from one of my teammates, Nichelle Turner, who is lovely and wonderful and a beautiful artist. She taught us a really great trick. So something to keep in mind when you want a long lasting sort of shimmer, especially for our brides, she actually went ahead after you do your palm mist to sort of set everything. You'll go in with your fan brush and you will go ahead and run it across the light shades there. And just right on top of the cheekbone there. And what's great is it's gonna go on top of damp skin. Because remember, when we put our palm mist, it takes a minute to dry. You actually wanna go ahead and use that on damp skin because the palm mist will adhere to the shimmer bronzer, I should say, will adhere to the palm mist. Long wearing, let me tell you. And it was a wonderful trick. I can't say enough great things about that share. So I'm passing it along to you as well. So you can kind of see there that I hit the gold and then the lighter shade just on the top there, just to give me that little glow there.
That's
now,
beautiful.
Yeah, it's really pretty. Now, if I want to use this as a palette all over my face, what I do is I'll just take the combination of those two colors and I go ahead and will lightly put it all over the whole lid, or just tap it on the lid right there and under the brow bone. Do you see how it just gave me that beautiful gold kind of look to my eyelid? If I want to highlight a little bit more, then I would use it just under the brow bone there, the light shade a little bit more. You can pop it in the inner corner for a little hit of light as well. Then if you want to shade, contour, you can take the bronzy tone, the very deepest bronzy tone, of course, and then that's what I go ahead and use to, oh, look at that. That's just so pretty, just to give a little bit of depth to my eye. You can see, you can just chisel it out. It's beautiful. I love that. Then, this is my favorite part. Favorite part. I go ahead and take this kind of the reddish tone in it. It just glides on the lips so beautifully. And it is, again, it's got that creamy like texture. So it goes on. I can use my finger if I have to, you know, if I don't have my brush handy, I'll do that. And then I pop a little bit of the hyaluronic lip gloss on top for a little sheen. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So now you know how to use the Copper Dusk as a palette. But again, that technique that I just used for application lends itself to any of the others, whether it's the Peach Shimmer, the Rose Dawn, really, that's another beautiful palette to use sort of as a you know, all over face palette. Now, do we have any, Emma, do you have any questions? Does anybody else have any?
Loads of questions. Yes, so many questions. So I think actually Carol asked the first question, and I think it really is a great question, especially considering you just did the demo. So Carol is asking what the difference is between bronzers and contours.
Okay, so bronzers are what we use or to create. When we bronze the skin, it's to create an all over warm glow to the skin. We want to warm it up. You know, and a lot of times really we're sort of in between, you know, seasons. So sometimes our foundation, you shouldn't be getting color from your foundation anyways. That's supposed to be a true color match to the skin. We get warmth from a bronzer. So that's what we do when we're bronzing the skin. And contouring is really like when I went ahead and cut into and created a little bit of a, you know, chiseled outlook here, was to create sort of a more angular face, again, along the jawline. That's important. And it depends on people's face shape, really. Some people just have like wider jaws and stuff, so then they really want to get more into this area when they shade. It's, you know, it's really about the face shape and where we want to create sort of depth, and then where we want to highlight and bring out. So if we want to recede features that are a little bit stronger, that's when we contour.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. So this one is sort of similar. So Lynn is asking what the difference is between the PureBronze Matte Bronzer versus the Glow Time, I think she means bronzer stick.
Oh, yes.
Like appearance wise on the face, like how does it look and what are the uses? Right.
So two different things. You can use, I love the bronzing sticks because they're creamy. So many of our clients or ourselves maybe have drier skin. Those are really lovely to use on a more mature skin or a drier skin. It's also really nice to use to create the sort of soft sculpting look, because that's really more the look of what we're doing now in regards to contouring. We're not really doing such hard edge looks anymore. We really just want to create like sort of soft sculpting to the face. Those cream bronzers are excellent for that. Now, I did have someone ask me, and it's a good question. Sometimes cream products may not last that long on certain people's skin. You know, sometimes it has to do with your pH balance, if you're oily skin, whatever it is. And that is in regards to cream blushes or the cream bronzers. What you would want to do is use the whether it's the cream blush stick first or the cream bronzer first, chisel out, soft sculpt whatever area you're wanting to recede. Go ahead and layer it with, go ahead and use your matte bronzer or powder blush on top of it, because layering products is what creates longevity in makeup.
That's
So
actually,
go ahead.
sorry to interrupt you. I was just going to say that's actually perfect for the next question. So Carol is asking, when do you apply bronzers? Is it the last thing you apply to your face? So in terms of that layering, kind of where does bronzer sit in that
So
order?
what we want to do is we'll do the foundation. We sort of want to perfect, think of yourself as an artist. You're perfecting your canvas, you're doing your foundation, you're concealing. Then you're going to go ahead, once you've sort of, you know, evened everything out, then you'll go in and sort of look at the face shape. If someone, you know, is just doesn't like their jawline, whatever it is, then you'll go ahead and that's when you'll bronze. Then you can come in and use your blushes, your highlighters, whatever else you like. And then you'll finish up with eyes and lips and such.
Gotcha. So it's kind of, it's before blush then, after
Yeah.
foundation, before blush.
Yes, exactly. Mhm.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. Because then once we do that, then we know exactly where we want to put blush at.
Oh, that's a good point. You're sort of like framing out your cheekbones so you know where the blush goes. Okay, that's helpful.
Perfect. Yeah.
Learn
Perfect.
new things every time I do these masterclasses.
Yes.
So, okay. Leah is saying, I have a light complexion. There's a few of these questions of like, I have X complexion or Y coloring. Which would you recommend? So Leah's saying, I have a light complexion, but with red and yellow undertones. Would peaches and cream be best for me?
So you've got red and yellow. Yes. And I will say when someone has any kind of redness to their skin, and a lot of fair skinned people, your skin's so sensitive, like I can just touch it and it goes red. So keep in mind, we don't want to go in with any kind of pink based blushes. We want to still give you a little bit of that flushed look to your cheeks, but we want to create that with a warmer tone, something that's peach toned. And to be honest with you, you probably won't need as much as say someone like me, because you know your skin probably will automatically get a little bit more flushed easier than mine would say. So if you're going to use a blush, yes, a peach tone would. Peaches and cream would be beautiful for that.
Yeah, and peaches and cream has that glow as well.
Yes.
Okay. So Lynette is asking, what's the best way to determine which shimmer bronzer is good for your skin color? So kind of a broader version of Leah's question.
Yes. What's the best way to what? Determine
the best shimmer bronzer for your skin tone. So of the 4 shades, like how do you figure out which one is best for you?
Okay. So I feel like Rose Dawn works on a multiple, you know, variety of skin tones. Moon Glow seems to work really well for the lighter skin tones because there's not a lot of pigment to it. So a lot of times I'll use blushes, but then I'll just use that as just like strictly a highlighter. But Rose Dawn is beautiful as long as they don't have too much redness, maybe say peaches and cream. And then obviously the copper dust being for as a bronzer and a shimmer thing, maybe, you know, richer skin tones. But again, as a face palette, you can see it works for so many different skin tones. But really looking at what your undertone is in the skin, that sort of clues you into it.
Got it. Okay. That's helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. And I will just say, if you're not sure of your undertone, there are sort of 3 routes that you can go to figure that out. I guess 4. So the first is you can go to your partner location. Farther up in the chat, but I'll actually put it in again. There's a link on our website to our location finder, and you can put in your zip code or your city, and find partners near you. So there's the link to that. And we have amazing partners, and they'll be happy to help shade match you and kind of give you a sense of what your undertone is. The second is by emailing beautyadvisors@janeiredell.com. I'm going to put that in the chat as well.
That's great.
Sorry, I can't type and talk at the same time. Can't do it. And then the third is to follow us on social media. So Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok, everywhere we are Jane Iredell. So, and we'll be happy to kind of shade match you and help you there. So those are 3 options. If you're not sure what your undertone is, that we can help you there. Okay, so a few more questions. So Leah is asking, what's the best way to contour the nose? And then I also saw a question, let's see, from Lynn.
Yeah.
She says, so there's a few questions about kind of nose contouring. So best way to contour your nose, how to make it shorter, and then how to make it look fuller for very narrow noses.
Ah, very good. Okay, so the tip of the nose, you'll always just want to use a little bit of the matte, of course, whatever corresponding matte bronzer matches your skin tone, you'll just do it right on the tip. Let me go right along the tip of mine. And you can already see, like, it took it down a little bit there because it recedes it, you know, it kind of takes it in. So the tip of the nose. That's really key. Wider, I would say to highlight, believe it or not, highlight some of this and then only darken a little bit on the top. Because again, that will add light and bring it out. Okay, so that's how to contour and make a narrow nose and make it look a little bit wider. So that's an idea. I also have some questions that we got earlier, and I wanted to kind of touch base on them. So I'll
go for it.
Answer some of those as well. This is Karen Gomez in Jewett, Texas, asked if we were going to be using or creating, I should say, more inclusive shades for Latina women. And, you know, being of, I'm a fellow Latina as well. Yes, we are doing that as well. And these matte bronzers are a good step in that direction. This can really help to warm up the skin tone very, very nicely and works really well because we tend to have yellow undertones to our skin. Someone else had also asked about what color sort of equates to so bronzed to. And that I would say would be light, really. You could use medium, but it's a little bit too dark. So hopefully that answers that. Laura Sutton out of Las Vegas. Again, sort of goes back to that layering question that we had earlier. If you need anything to wear longer or better, always start with a cream, layer a powder over it. Again, you're just sort of layering products on top of each other, which creates longer wear. Okay, so hopefully that answers that. And remember, like soft sculpting is really what we're doing now, just sort of softly contouring. We're not really doing any hard edges. So we really want to make sure we soft sculpt. And again, 2 brushes that you can use to create that. Again, the contour brush, again, because it'll chisel it out. Then you use it in a downward motion, it'll blend it out. But you can also use my favorite brush, and honestly, I cannot tell you how many people must definitely buy it after I use it on them, the blending contouring brush. I know this is such a great brush. It is wonderful to use to put your primers on with. And most people use their fingers, and I'm like, use a brush. It's going to be, it really gives a nice finish to the skin. It really works the primer into the skin. These are great for our glow time blushes and bronzers, as well as any of our liquid foundations. You just want to make sure to use our brush cleaner to clean it in between. And our brush cleaner is amazing. You know, it's got a beautiful light scent. It doesn't have any of those harsh chemicals. So you'll want to use our brush cleaner because it just smells much nicer to put something like that, you know, close to the skin. Let's see. Chrissy Anderson from Dale City, Virginia asked, you know, she's a mature woman with sensitive skin. And I do see this a lot out in the field. Mature women, or really anyone with sensitive skin, sometimes will say, like, I can't use a lot of the skincare that's out on the market. And a lot of our partners, you know, you have some beautiful high-end skincare. And I think that works for so many people, myself included, because hyperpigmentation is a very real concern for many of us. But then we've got our sensitive skin clients that can't use a lot of active ingredients. I will tell you, please look into the Jane Iredell skincare line because it works nicely. We're really a very simple skincare line. We really created the skincare to complement an application and to help us makeup artists out in the field just prep the skin for a beautiful finish and an application of the Jane Iredell cosmetics. So it really isn't created with a lot of active ingredients. But it's lovely. We have a 2% hyaluronic acid, which is wonderful just to add moisture to the skin. We have a wonderful moisturizer, and we have a face cleanser that's like a micellar water. Wonderful. You just use that with our face mitt or with a cotton pad. And our face mitt is really great for sensitive skin people that want to exfoliate the skin, but with nothing too like physically, abrasive, any physical kind of too much friction to the skin. So sensitive skin people, really, I think you'd be surprised at how nice the skincare line is. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh, Ksenia Cotina in Santa Clarita, California, asked me about shine control. And now we're getting into the summer months. So summer months in many parts of the United States means hot and humid. And while I am combination skin, I will tell you, I really start to get very shiny in the summer months. So shine control, start with the mattifying primer, use that first. You can actually use, believe it or not, the Glow Time, excuse me, not the Glow Time, the Hydro Pure Tinted Serum is beautiful because it's light. It doesn't feel heavy on the skin. You can actually use Amazing Base for a little bit of a lighter application to set it, and also to get your sunscreen factor, because Hydro Pure does not have any sunscreen, and I really want to make sure everyone remembers that. So we always want to finish with the powder, whether it's Amazing Base or the Pure Press powder you can do as well. And I would recommend, if you're really shiny, do the Pure Press powder and then set it with either the Palm Mist for long wearing, but you can also use the Balance Spray. The Balance Hydration Spray is wonderful for really sort of differentiating between water and oil in the skin, and it really helps to keep those two balanced. So I highly recommend that Balance Spray. If you have not tried it, I recommend it. It really helps to keep you sort of from getting that, just that oil control. So hopefully that answers your question. What else? A lot of questions about mature skin, bronzing, how to shimmer. Is it okay to use shimmer? Was that something?
Sorry, yeah. So I was just going to say there's a bunch of different questions like that. So Erica is asking, is the shimmer bronzer good for mature skin? And then Carol says, for an older person, would you recommend a matte bronzer or the shimmer bronzer? So similar questions.
Yes. So again, the difference between matte and shimmer. So yes, a mature skin can use shimmer. I like to balance, I would say, like when I do a more mature experienced skin, as we like to say at Jane Iredell, and a more experienced skin, I will do a combination of matte eyeshadows and a little bit of shimmer, because I do like that it reflects light. And I do feel like, we want the light, we want our face to catch the light. We don't want to overuse shimmer though. So, while you may use shimmer, I would concentrate it on one feature in the face. And many times, you know what, I won't do it in the eye area, but I'll certainly do it with the lipstick, with the lip gloss, because that will reflect light. And we really, as I said, it just creates a little bit of a lit from within glow. So don't be afraid of it, just use it in moderation and know what areas, whether you are going to use it in the eye area, mix it, a combination of matte and shimmer shadows, but not too much. And then everything else will be a little more toned down and matte. You don't want to do too much of it.
I will say my mom is 60 and she uses shimmer just kind of on the apples of her cheeks, but she doesn't take it very far back because she has, fine lines around her eyes.
Gotcha.
So she'll be very strategic about the placement of shimmer products. which I
Which
think
is
is kind of,
nice, because if she's
yeah.
doing it on the apple of the cheeks, really, that's such a nice, like fleshy part of the face. And really, when you think about it, that light probably just reflects so pretty on her. I would think it does. Yeah. Probably
Yeah.
catches the light really nicely.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's okay to do it, just don't overload on it, I would say.
Yeah.
And how to choose. I think, we had gotten that question earlier. Knowing your undertones. Another trick that I like too is a lot of times our clients, ourselves included, we're so good about sunscreen on the face, because we really don't want dark spots on our face. But then our décolleté has more color, our body has color, especially during the summer months. So we want to balance the two out, because the worst thing is, of course, to have like a really white face and then your décolleté when you take pictures and it's like, whoa, what happened? I look so pasty. So what you want to do is take the bronzer and really sort of hold it in between the face and the décolleté, and that helps you to figure out what color works best for your skin tone. You'll almost see what sort of melts and kind of lends itself to your undertones. That's why medium works for me, because it works nicely with my décolleté and then it blends me so nicely, So that's a good trick, on figuring out what shade, to use. Let's see, creams versus powders. That's really, again, about preference. Cream products are always just lovely on drier skin. I mean, creams, they're beautiful. But let's not forget, I mean, that's sort of the look of makeup now, right? That glazed skin. Oh, I don't know, glass skin. I'm trying to think of all the terms, right? Emma, you're in charge of our social media. So yeah, glazed donut skin. That's one that we've been hearing. But just that, glass skin look. I love, really luminous skin. To what degree depends on the individual, what they're comfortable with, what looks good on them. But honestly, I love creams. Can't get enough of them, they go on nicely.
So we got an interesting question from Kelly about essentially whether you can mix a matte shade with a shimmer shade. So she's saying, would the light matte bronzer go with peaches and cream bronzer if she wanted to contour her nose with the light?
Yes. So yes, she would be able to do that. And then of course the shimmer she would use here to highlight, maybe, do it as an eyeshadow. Because again, we're using them as face palettes. So keep it in mind, you can do that and maybe even use one of the shades like I did on the lips, because they're gorgeous on the lips as well. And really, because it's a cream powder, it actually really is, it's a powder, I should say, but it feels creamy when we put it on, but it really wears well on the lips. And then sometimes I just swipe some gloss on.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think this is an interesting question. So we got someone saying that she wears, I'm assuming it's a she, wears satin pure press base. And she's asking which color of the matte and the shimmer should she use. So I'll let you answer this, but I think the shimmer, if I'm not mistaken, can kind of be used by anyone, right?
Right.
Yes.
Right. So, if it's satin, then yeah, I mean, I would think if the matte, if you're satin, I would probably stick to the light really, and then maybe just, you can build up if you feel, because I feel like medium might be a little bit too much color. And then of course your shimmers, you can definitely use those. And again, you would use them strategically, highlighting eyes and lips. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all the questions we have so far.
Okay.
So I think if no one else has any more questions, then we can say goodbye. But thank you so much, Felicia, for running through all of that. I think it's, I think bronzers and contouring specifically can be such a difficult, sort of intimidating topic. So I really appreciate you walking through that.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, hopefully I helped to demystify that, because that's really, it's makeup, it's not rocket science, and I'm here to help. And if you see me out in the field, please do not hesitate to ask. But we have wonderful partners out there too. And that's a huge part of what we do as an education team, to make sure that we share our knowledge so that everyone is like up to speed on all that. And don't hesitate to go to our website, right? I mean, Emma, we have beautiful videos, that have been done by some of us on the education team. And we have a lot of information on our website. So please, I invite you to go to our website because there's a wealth of information there.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And this will be available on YouTube tomorrow as well. So if you want to go back and kind of check anything, that's your place. So
Thank you,
so
everyone.
much.
Pleasure to
Have
meet
a
all of
wonderful
you.
evening, everyone. Bye.
Bye.